Often we don't do things because we consider them beyond our ability. We think they are impossible. But here's a secret, nothing is ever really impossible. If there's one thing the 10 people on this list teach us, it's that your only real challenge is yourself. Giving all to achieve your goals is the one way to become a success. So without further ado, here are 10 people who did the impossible. Number 10. Josh Sundquist. Josh Sundquist is a motivational speaker who blends humor and storytelling, inspiring audiences across the globe. He is also a regular keynote speaker at sales and business conferences. A best-selling author, his first memoir was a national bestseller. It has been translated into different languages. His second memoir is set to become a movie. When he's not speaking to millions around the world, Josh is a comedian on the side. He's the star of his own one-man show most Friday nights in Los Angeles. But Josh's life wasn't all roses and daisies. He didn't wake up into this fairy tale lifestyle. No, far from it. As a child, he had his fill of adversity. Josh lost his leg when he was 10 due to a rare form of bone cancer. He was eventually cured of it at 13, and 3 years later, he started ski training. After training rigorously for 6 years, he became a member of the US Paralympic ski team. These days, he is a known motivational speaker, rapper, and Halloween enthusiast, amongst other things, but that's not the most impressive thing about this champion. By being brave enough to fight the odds, he showed them time and time again that disabilities can be overcome through sheer determination and dedication. Number 9. Jason Paget. To call what happened to this man impossible almost doesn't seem to fully cut it. Even the man himself has said that he never in a million years thought that it would happen to anyone, much less him. But it did happen. In 2002, Jason was mugged and severely wounded outside a bar. The young Jason didn't know it at the time, but this unfortunate incident would change his story and ultimately the field of mathematics forever. After the attack, not only did Jason suffer a severe concussion, but he started seeing mathematics everywhere. No, the mathematics didn't become a ghost that haunted him, although that would have been interesting. The man saw a new version of the world, this time through the lens of the laws of mathematics. He used to be a furniture salesman, but he gained the ability to see complex mathematical objects as physical concepts after the injury. According to scientists, Jason acquired a rare savant syndrome, which makes normal people gain special abilities after severe disease or injury. Paget had initially struggled as a student while growing up. However, this event changed his life forever as he went to become a world-renowned mathematician. Before we move on, leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be the first watching new episodes. Number 8. CONCETTA ANTICO. Colors have a certain magic about them. They can transform the very ordinary into something incredibly special and extraordinary, and no one knows this better than CONCETTA ANTICO. Antico doesn't just perceive these colors because she's an artist who paints in an impressionist style. She does that, but she's also a tetrachromat, which means that she has more receptors in her eyes to absorb color. The difference isn't Antico's cones, structures in the eyes that are calibrated to absorb particular wavelengths of light and transmit them to the brain. While the average person has 3 cones, which enables us to see about 1 million colors, Antico has 4 cones, so her eyes can pick up dimensions and nuances of color, about 100 million of them, which honestly is just beyond the realms of the average person. Antico didn't have to go through a traumatic experience to achieve this superpower though, she was born with it. She and about 1% of the world's population were born with tetrachromacy, a condition caused by a gene variation that affects the retina's development. Antico put her gift to good use and now has her own gallery in San Diego, California. Number 7. Reinhold Messner. Men live on land, birds live in the sky, occasionally settling for a nice view of the world around them on mountain cliffs. One man decided, why not do both? Not content to live on a normal terrain like everyone else, Reinhold Messner set out to climb all the mountains over 8,000 meters without bottled oxygen. As if that wasn't enough, he became the first man to climb Mount Everest without oxygen. Now, to put that into context, in case you were wondering, climbing Mount Everest is one of the most difficult things to do. A lot of people have tried and failed. Those who managed to climb it did it with months and months of preparation and a bucket load of bottled oxygen to keep them healthy through this strenuous climb. In 1978, a team of doctors and various specialists declared the feat impossible and advised against it, but even that wasn't enough to deter him as he made the climb with his pal, Peter Habeler. All this sounds like a big deal to most people, but it's just a day at the office for the Italian alpinist. Turns out climbing was an inborn talent for Mr. Messner. By 5, he had already reached his first summit, and in 1980, he climbed the Everest again without supplementary oxygen, this time alone, setting the record for the first man to climb the mountain solo. Number 6. George Dantzig. If you've seen the movie Good Will Hunting, you're probably familiar with this story. Matt Damon's character, Will Hunting, works as a janitor at MIT, where a professor set up a challenging math problem on the blackboard in his office. Will, even though he doesn't attend the college, solves it easily and anonymously. The professor sets up another, this time even harder. Again, Will solves it, but the professor catches him in the act this time. Of course, the professor is shocked to discover that the janitor solved the correct answer, and so began the turn of events. It's textbook Hollywood, enduring, and while unlikely, this particular scene has its roots in reality. It was based on the story of the legendary math student George Bernard Dantzig. When George Dantzig was still a doctoral candidate at the University of California, he arrived late for a statistics class. After getting to the class late, he found two statistical theorems written on a blackboard and thought they were a homework assignment. Somehow he found a way to solve the theorems. It turned out the theorems were considered unsolvable. The professor only tried to give an example of an equation that mathematicians since Einstein have been trying to solve without success. So you could say George went up there and performed magic. Both theorems would later go on to become part of his dissertation. While most people still find it hard to understand math problems, let alone solve them, this guy solved one of the most difficult math problems by accident. Number 5. JURE ROBIC. Next on the list is a true champion who managed to acquire full mastery of himself physically and mentally. JURE ROBIC was a 5-time winner of a 3,000-mile bike race. This Slovenian cyclist held a record for cycling 834.77 kilometers, 518.7 miles, non-stop, and was also renowned for his extreme endurance, sleeping only 1 hour a night during a week-long race. His stunts were so daring that researchers spent a lot of time studying how his body worked. According to them, the secret for this ultra-endurance is that JURE ignored his own brain's messages about fatigue and only listened to his crew, who decided when he rested, when he ate, and how fast he had to go. Not exactly sure how that works, but apparently the man cracked the code. Unfortunately, ROBIC died in 2010, aged 45. Number 4. Herbert NITSCH. Herbert NITSCH didn't get the nickname the deepest man on Earth just for the fun of it. The Austrian diver took free diving to new heights, or in this case, new depths. Herbert can hold his breath for more than 9 minutes and has set a total of 33 world records. 32 of these are all in 8 recognized freediving disciplines. One, the last, took him to a depth where no man has ever dived before. In 2012, he performed the most incredible of his many feats, dived to 253.2, 831 feet, a depth no man has ever gone. This daredevil feat, however, didn't exactly go as planned. During the dive, he temporarily fell asleep due to nitrogen narcosis and missed his decompression stop. As a result, he suffered from severe decompression sickness and ended up in a coma for 7 days. When he woke up, the doctors told him he probably would be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. 6 months later, he walked out of the care facility himself and has been deep free diving since then. Number 3. Randy Gardner. This next guy took his dedication to win science fairs to a whole new level. Notorious for getting into science fairs and competitions, Randy Gardner set the record for the longest time a human has gone without sleep. In 1964, 17-year-old Randy went almost 2 weeks without sleeping as he stayed awake for 11 days and 25 minutes for a science fair project. Now that's not even the crazy part, that part comes next. You'd think going through that kind of mental pressure would leave its toll on his body. Surprisingly, he was fine and showed almost no ill effects from his 11 days awake after the experiment was over. He even gave a press conference on the final day of the experiment, speaking without stumbling over his words. Number 2. Dr. KATSIOULIS. Dr. Evangelos Katsoulis, born in Ioannina, Greece in January 1976, has the world's highest IQ and is also ranked first in the World Genius Directory, with the world's top IQ score of 198.4. He is a Greek psychiatrist and a psychotherapist and the founder of the World Intelligence Network, a society for the highly intelligent. An IQ score of 198 may not ring a bell, but when you put it against the average person's 100, most people score between 85 and 114, it becomes much more incredible. This score is so impressive that it only happens in 1 out of 38 billion people, which makes it pretty clear that his otherworldly IQ shouldn't even be possible in the first place. Extraordinary stuff. Number 1. Wim Hof. This insanely driven man is, without a doubt, one of the most daring individuals to ever live. Wim Hof, also known as the Iceman, is a Dutch extreme athlete who is famed for his awe-inspiring ability to withstand freezing temperatures. He claims he can do this by maintaining a regimen that he calls the Wim Hof method that involves cold therapy, breathing, and meditation. But even when he revealed his secrets, not many people can replicate what the Dutch Iceman can do. He holds a total number of 26 Guinness World Records, including the Guinness World Record for swimming under ice and prolonged full-body contact with ice. He also holds the record for a barefoot half marathon on ice and snow. Thanks for watching. Leave the comment down below and let us know what do you think. Don't forget to subscribe for new and upcoming episodes.